Good morning and welcome. Welcome to my live stream. I'm here to help you all how to fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. I've been doing this on a regular basis, twice a day, 7 days a week, month after month, and year after year. It's been 21 months. 21 months that I've been doing this, over a year and a half. And my morning show is Fight CPS with Bob Pace. You found me on Facebook. My evening show is Fight CPS, Stop Taking Our Children. Now, my morning show comes on at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and 8 o'clock on the weekends. And then my evening show is on 7 o'clock at night, every night of the week, 7 days a week. Those times I give you are Pacific Standard Times. I'm broadcasting live from the west coast of California, south of Los Angeles, a place called Surf City, USA. I'm 3 blocks from the ocean, and I too have been fighting CPS for 15 years. Unfortunately, at the age of 60, I had lost my job after working for 45 years in 2010. And CPS started getting involved with me shortly after losing my job. It's kind of really strange how they get involved with you when they know that you've are low income. Now I have my savings, don't get me wrong. And I was able to survive in my forever home for 7 years till I finally had to quick sell it to hire an attorney. But it's been really hard. Now I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I have helped raise 6 children. My 3 oldest have families of their own. My 3 youngest were living with me at the time that CPS was involved. They're my young family. At the time when they were involved, they were quite young. They were quite young. Um, uh, my son was 14, and my daughter was 12, and a young son was 9 years old when they were taken from me. Actually, when they revived, they were like, they were younger than that. They were younger than that. But, I've had these life experiences, so I have life skills I can share with you. Lots of life skills. Um, uh, but it is a hard thing that you're going through. And hopefully you will share me your experiences. I have a regular group of followers that come in my room twice a day. I'm glad they're here. One of the things you do in my room, you can text a message. And I just put a banner up about how to text a message. Now, when I mention country, you don't if you're in the United States, you don't have to put your country. It's pertaining to the people. There are 22 countries that participate in this live stream. It's a worldwide web. It's a worldwide web broadcast. I mean, we are any place that's got internet, people can tune in. Usually, they find me by searching CPS or how to fight CPS or what it is. I'm found on Facebook, and I've done numerous shows. I've done close to almost 2,000 shows. And I've talked to over 2,500 people. That's a lot of people. Anyway, these countries are Indonesia and Bangladesh and India, then up to the Middle East. There's Saudi Arabia and Libya, then over to Africa, it's Liberia, then down to Sudan, and the Republic of Congo, then to Rwanda, to Mozambique, and then to the provinces of South Africa. Then up to Europe, it's the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, Denmark, and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, it's Canada and its provinces. United States and all 50 states have participated or called in or texted in, including Washington, D.C., which is not a state. Um, South of the border, we have Mexico. Then further south in South America, north of Brazil on the East Coast, we have um, Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, we got New Zealand, and the land down yonder is Australia and its states. So that's a lot of people that I've heard from that have a CPS case. Now, what I call the CPS, I call it the Child Protection System. Now, this morning we have Dorothy Cook on. Hello, Dorothy Cook from North Carolina. She's a wonderful mother. She's talked to me on the phone and she's done a lot for all the people. And she comes in here, and by the way, that is uh, Pacific Standard Time, Dorothy, not Central Standard Time. It's Pacific Standard Time. It's PST, not CST. Now, the child protection system will have different names in every state, and um, they have counties, and the names are numerous. So that's why I use the child protection system, and I abbreviate it as CPS. CPS does stand for the Child Protection Services, which is a name given to many of the places. There's also the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. There's the Department of Children's Services. There's also the Cabinet in Kentucky. So wherever it is, I'm dealing with the government entity that was formed in 1962 by the Social Service to protect our children from neglect and abuse, and to help get the family back together through family reunification. Because studies have shown that the best parents that raise children are the biological parents. If there's glitches, they can be corrected. There are family classes you can take. There are programs like domestic violence and drug treatment and so forth that can help you. CPS, the Child Protection System, should be willing to want to help. Not only is supposed to help with family reunification, they're supposed to help with food and clothing and shelter and transportation and education and medical, even help you find a job. That's what social service is supposed to be. Now, for the last uh, 4 years, our social service has been really um, demanded something. You know, we've had open borders. We have over millions, 21 million people, I think I've heard, that are not citizens of the United States that get full benefits of citizenship. When you have an open border, you know, they didn't strive for asylum, they didn't strive to get their citizenship by learning the English language or by taking government or history classes to learn about the United States. None of that. Instead, they got a free ride to put their children, if they brought their children or had children here, a free ride into the education system. It's all public schools. They know if they have a child here that is considered a citizen, but now maybe we got some more thinking about that. First generation children should be from families that are citizens. If you're not a citizen, then you shouldn't get these benefits. But not only did they get education, they got clothing, they got food, they got shelter, a place to stay. They get transportation, and education for their children, already said, and health care. All those are given to all those people, where other people that need them could use them. Other people could have used them. Now, I just put a second banner on there about how to be on my show. I can take 9 of you, including me as 10. You contact my show producer. There's her email. You just say, I want to be on Bob's Sunday morning show or Bob's Friday night show or Bob Wednesday morning show. There are 14 shows to pick from. And she'll send you a link to StreamYard, and that will get you on where StreamYard uses YouTube to broadcast. And you'll be able to answer your questions and talk about a lot of things, okay? Um, so please be a guest. I enjoy to have you, and I can have 9 of you. Now I'll put my phone number up. You can call in at 626-698-0990. That is my phone number. That's my phone number. Now, I'm glad that Dorothy's summing up what I'm saying. That's really good. Now, I have a second number there, 888-888-6582. That is the office number of my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. His picture is on the upper right-hand part of my screen. Now, you can contact him at that number. You'll get reception. Make sure you tell reception that Bob Pace sent you. And if you speak to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And there you can set up a time to hire Mr. Davis or to talk to him. His typical hourly rate is $500 an hour, but he has programs where you can talk to him for 15 minutes for free, or you can pay a one-time $60 fee and talk to him for 30 minutes. There's other programs on when you call in, just ask. You also can find out when the live streams take place. Mr. Davis does a live stream. KK Richardson from Brooklyn, New York does a live stream. Mrs. G does live streams. There's lots of people do live streams. And the office can tell you when they are. Also, they can tell you about books they have. They have a grandparent guide that helps adopt your grandchildren for all your grandparents out there. It's also good that parents get that guide, and it works in other states besides California. But there's guides of how to work with your children and how to get them back. CPS is a very complex thing. When you get involved in the child protection system, it's tough. It's tough because they're not going to be really willing to help you. You see, I'm not saying all CPS is bad, but there's enough of them. I mean, it must be at least 2,500 CPS cases must be bad. I mean, um, I know that North Carolina has um, has 58 counties. No, 100 counties. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. California has 58. And why there's that much of discrepancy is probably because California is more land than people. And so the people are more concentrated, so they have less counties. I mean, places like Death Valley, is hardly anybody there. And I know the counties around my area are bad. I know that Orange County, the county that that stole my children, trafficked my children into foster care illegally. They weren't in danger. I just didn't know. I didn't know. See, there's no handbook that's given to you about how to fight CPS. There are handbooks around, but I know that the agency's not going to give you something. They want to be tricksters. Their goal is to make as much money off your child as they can. Not the money from you, but because you're in the system and the federal government so loosely gives away money. So loosely gives away money. I'm talking about a lot of money. $1 trillion to effect. It's $1 trillion business for CPS. That's what they make. That's what they send freely. And the problem is there's no check and balances. There's nobody protecting you from that money laundering thing. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Now, I hope a lot of you do call in during my show time because we can talk about anything. I can help you about anything. I'm not an attorney. As I said, that, you know, I've helped raise 6 children, so I have a lot of experience with children. I've had 2 marriages. I have 42 years of marriages. One was 10 years, the other's been 32. Unfortunately, marriage is one of those things that I was one of my goals growing up. My family was, in a marriage, and I thought that's the idea was to have a family someday. And I'm very fortunate and blessed, but my family's very estranged. My 2 sons are eventually moving out in a couple weeks after been with me, one since for 25 years, the other one for 19 years, going on 20. CPS has hurt them. They hurt my younger family. My daughter, who's 23, has not seen her parents since she was 12. For 11 years, she has been, no, for 8 years, I should say. See, 12? No, 12. Boy, help me with my math sometimes. It's 8 plus 5 is 13 years. Yeah, she's 23. We've not seen her for 23 years. That's wrong. She was brainwashed into thinking that she could divorce her parents. The social worker was very vindictive. The social worker had been caught in perjury, lying in court, and she wanted to retaliate. So she steered my daughter along with the CASA. The CASA is bad. See, that's one of the things that they try to give you. All it is some extra ears for CPS. It's the court appointed um, service advocate that is supposed to help you through this terrible times of having something to lean on. But the sad thing about it is that they work for CPS. Oh, good, Dorothy. I'm glad. Yeah, he acknowledged that you did. So hopefully he'll get back to you. No, she divorced everybody. When she, in California, when you emancipate from a family, you emancipate from not only your mom and dad, your siblings, her 3 brothers, her 2 sisters, her both sets of grandparents when they were alive. My mom and dad have died, and my wife's father has died. Her mother is close to it, so she'll never get to know her grandparents as much. No, she's been cut off. She can't see her uncles or cousins or aunts. No, she changed her name. Not only did she divorce us, she changed her name completely. Her beautiful name. Her middle name was Honolulu, and it's a beautiful place in Kauai. It's the Garden Island in the Hawaiian Islands. And we gave her that name. It's just so unbelievable that she's no longer. And then she was coached into sealing her birth certificate. When I went to get copies of my son's birth certificate, I asked for my daughter, and they said, "Sorry, that birth certificate is sealed. You cannot access it, and you cannot get her new one." That was a heartbreaker for me. That was a heartbreaker. That she's erased her real identity. She's erased her mom and dad like they meant nothing. Those 12 years of raising a child, changing the diapers, feeding the child, showing what's wrong and right, take him to school, waiting for the pickup at school, meeting with the teachers, the open houses, showing interest in her homework, in her life, involving her in Girl Scouts and AYSO soccer, taking us to numerous trips to Disneyland because we had season passes back then. All that's gone. Even taking her to the trip to Vancouver, Canada, Vancouver Island, or Grand Canyon, other places that we've traveled. All that's gone. It's like we've not meant anything to her. And that's the hardest thing for me as a father, and I know my wife feels the same way as a mother. It's really hurt us. It's really hurt us over the years. I've definitely been still hurt by it. I do have a grievance that has been put together by one of the great people in this room, Christina Renoza. And this grievance is really well thought out, where I can sue the CPS and the worker. There's no stipulation, statute of limitations with this grievance because it's ongoing. The hurt and pain of my daughter not seeing her, missing her heritage, is ongoing. Not only that, she illegally got a second Social Security card and was double dipping from her retirement. Now, when you reach a certain age and you have children in your 60s, or I had my children in my 50s, I think it was, or close to 60. Anyway, when you reach 70 and you're getting retirement from your Social Security, you can get additional help to take care of children. They know that people that are trying to retire or something like that, it's hard raising a child. It's really, 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 really hard. So she already has Social Security, and she already was getting money. It was first sent to me, her parents, to be used to help her, which it was. 100% of that money was always used on her, even though it's my money, money I've earned. But instead, when they took my daughter, the child protection system made that money from Social Security go not to her, but to CPS, who used the money. And I don't know if they spent it on my daughter or not. And when they got the second birth certificate with their adopted parents on it, she got a second Social Security card. So she was double dipping. So social services, the child protection system, was illegally taking money from Social Security. And if Social Security heard about it, that's wrong. You don't double dip. That's wrong. I agree with you, Dorothy. In California, I remember the day in court, and she was on a video conference. We couldn't see her face. We couldn't see her. That's how terrible this court system is. And they ask her, "Are you sure you want to divorce your family, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles?" Because you see, she's erased her name. So she couldn't check on her bloodline or anything like that because her name isn't what she was born with. Her family doesn't exist. Now, I know that I encourage my brothers to see her, and they do see her. And maybe some of the relatives do contact her. She's 23. She can see anybody she wants, but she's divorced from her family's identity. That's a hard thing to swallow. That's a hard thing to swallow. I asked Social Security that. You know what they said? She's still entitled to it. She's still entitled to it. I told them, why are you doing that? Now, I don't know where the money was sent. I don't know if it was sent to CPS, then forwarded on to her adopted um, foster parents, or sent directly to the foster parents. All I know is that the combined income of the foster parents was a quarter million of dollars. So I don't think they really needed the money. It was just some slush money that was there. I don't know. I have no idea about what's happened or because I lost all touch. The last time I kissed my daughter and held her in my arms was on May 2nd of 2015. And why I remember that date? Because it's the date of my firstborn child who was born on May 2nd in 1989. Now, my daughter, who was born in 2002, is a beautiful, beautiful girl. It's hard. I did not know because in May 2nd of 2015, she was going through some troubled times. She was really upset with school, and I was trying to comfort her. I was giving her space. She was staying at my wife's sister's and husband's place. But that's when they came down and took away not only my daughter, but my two other sons. And all three of them were put into foster care. Now, at first, I had all three of them stay with my wife's sister and husband, which was good. But they only lasted a month because they couldn't take the amount of work it is to take a child to school. There's three different schools. They demand a lot of your time. And my wife's sister and husband like the idea of having kids, but not the work that goes involved. You have meals still to get for them. You have to help with their homework. You have activities to go to, whether it's in Girl Scouts or whether it's in AYSO soccer or whether it's in something else. So being a parent is a hard job. It's not an easy job. But CPS wants to break apart the family. They want to alienate you from your children. Alienation is illegal. Alienation is illegal. I will always be her father to the day I die. I'll always be my six children. I always will be their father. And, there's nothing but love for my children. The day of the tragedy when they invaded my house They'd already been to my house numerous times, found nothing wrong with it. I mean, I had a forever home. And yes, I lost my job through no fault of my own. I was trying to hang on to it. But it's very hard to hang on to a $1 million home when you have no income. I had savings and I was able to hang on to the home for 7 years. For 7 years. It wasn't until April 2nd of 19. Geez. Not 19, it's 20. Oh boy. 2017. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to talk about your things there. That's why I want to have you guys call in or be a guest on my show or text me something that I can respond on. Because this show is your show. This is your chance to get help with your CPS matter from someone who's been fighting it now for uh, since 2010. And what is it, 2025? So 10 from 25, that's 15 years. That's 15 years of fighting CPS. And when they took away my children in 2015, wow, that's 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Hard to believe. I did get my children back, two of them. I got back by hiring Vincent Davis. I quick sold my home and hired him. And what little money I had on my home, because I had a high mortgage payment and a credit line, because I had a predatory loan. For all of you, this is another life skill. Predatory loans are loans that you don't really qualify. The bank, though, has inflated your numbers so you do qualify. I shouldn't say the bank, but the lender, because they want to get bonuses. They get bonuses for selling loans. And there's loan market back then was in Crazyville. That's when the banks folded. That's when the banks crashed. But I can't forget my family. My whole goal is to take care of my family right now. Now my two boys are moved out, and all I have left to take care of my family is my wife. And she and I have gone really far apart because of this. I still love her dearly. I still want to be here, but she's done. She says that our daughter has been taken away from her. Now the two boys are moving out. She just, we had a goal. They were both in high school, my two sons. Went to a private school. One played on the football team and won the national championships in high school football 2 times in his 4 years. He played with football players that now are on the NFL playing. I mean, two of the players. I mean, he took handoffs from the quarterback of the North Carolina Panthers, and there's a wide receiver that plays on the Detroit Lions. He had illustrious years. I mean, he had scholarships, football scholarships awarded to him. But he didn't go to pursuing a football career. He wanted to follow something else. And I think a lot had to do with social services. I think social services ruined my children more than I know. Social services, or the Child Protection System, CPS, is the worst agency that I know of. I know you have trouble with the Department of Motor Vehicles or the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, or your state tax, board, whatever it may be called. Every state's different. But CPS is so corrupt. It's too hard to navigate their they're through 'em. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You've fallen in the rabbit hole out in the garden and you met the Chester cat who directs you to room after room where you have nothing but sadness. It's terrible. It's terrible. Now, I'm here to help you, and I've developed 5 rules. And those rules are very, very uh, good to follow. I wish I'd followed them because I probably would never lost my children to begin with. And I want to thank the emojis of Donna Yansowski and Dorothy Cook. Now, Dorothy is the one helping me narrate the live stream. She's from North Carolina. Donna Yansowski, I have no idea where you're from, but you've been in this room a lot lately. Now, I've had some people that are silent people that do emojis. I haven't heard from them long. Yansowski sounds like that's probably a European name. I don't know where. I don't know where. Now, this room, I'm really worried about somebody today. Yesterday, I did not hear from Felicia, who is Truella that dance. She's from Oxnard, California, Ventura, and she had an eviction notice that she had to be out of her home by midnight last night. Today is her day that she's being evicted. Unfortunately, she didn't know the laws or where it is. The person evicted her is her brother, who doesn't own the home. She isn't paying rent. The home is not in disarray. She doesn't do illegal drugs. But somehow her brother, who convinced a commissioner, not a judge, because she didn't know that you can ask for a judge. What's happened sometimes, you get cases where they're too full and they say, do you want to be decided by a commissioner? Now, a commissioner is a potential, could be a judge, but they're not a judge. So, one of my things is do not let a commissioner decide your case. And if all humanly possible, make sure you try to have a jury trial with your CPS case. A lot of states don't do that, but some do, I've heard. So look at that because you never want to give up. You got to keep fighting. And some of you have been in here. And hello, Lauren. Um, I know you called in or texted in yesterday. Welcome back, Lauren from New Hampshire, and thank you for telling me where you're from. That is great. Do you have something to ask me, Lauren, or maybe you have a story to tell or a question? I know it's our constitutional right, but somehow CPS gets away with it. That's one of the things I don't understand because if you let a handful of individuals control the situation, it's bad news. Boy, Okay, here's an answer to your question, um, Dorothy from North Carolina. Or no, Lauren. I think it's Lauren was asking that. There was a Supreme Court decision in the McKeever versus Pennsylvania in 1971 establishing juveniles do not have a constitutional right to a trial, jury, and juvenile delinquent proceedings. They took away the constitutional right of juveniles. This ruling is based on the court's belief that juvenile court proceedings are not criminal prosecutions defined by the Sixth Amendment. Oh, this is so bad. I always wondered about this. Now, the Sixth Amendment, I guess, is defined by the Sixth Amendment. They do not require a jury trial. The court rationale was to maintain the rehabilit focus of juvenile court proceedings and avoid the formal adversary nature of a jury trial, which could potentially transform the hearing into a criminal trial. The court's decision was influenced by the juvenile justice system primary goal of rehabilitation and protection. They don't do protection, they don't do rehab, not criminal punishment. It is so bad. That was in 71. Wow. And you know what's so sad? It wasn't until 1974 when they had laws for CPS. See, child protection system was started in 64. I mean 62. But they didn't have any laws until 1974. Oh, this is really I didn't realize that. This now explains to me. I just wow. They wanted to perceive the court's rehab focus. There's no such thing as lately it's got its plate. So you have to look at 1971, the Supreme Court rule. It draws a clear line between adult criminal trials and the neat framework of juvenile courts. The ruling shaped the legal landscaping for young people accused of delinquent acts by solidifying their distinction. Now, one petitioner was a guy named Joseph, a 16-year-old from Pennsylvania, charged with robbery and larceny. Another 15-year-old, Edward Terry, faces charges for assaulting a police officer. In separate proceedings, both teenagers requested a jury trial, but their requests were denied by the Juvenile Court of Philadelphia. These cases, along with similar ones from North Carolina, there it is, mentioned North Carolina, Dorothy, moved to the state court systems where the denials were affirmed. The state Supreme Court held that a jury trial was not constitutional requirement for juvenile delinquent proceedings, believing this denial would violate the Sixth and 14th Amendment. The petitioners appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court reasoning was a decision against a mandatory jury trial was grounded in the philosophy of the juvenile justice system. The majority opinion emphasized that the primary goal of juvenile court is rehabilitation and protection. Well, they're not doing that with our children in CPS. They passed a law in 1997, the incentive law signed into law by President Bill Clinton, that gives a $35,000 bonus from the government to the child protection system in that county, in that state. That's not rehab. Rehab means to try to keep the family. They don't do that anymore. They talk about it, but they don't believe it. Now, how is a jury trial emphasize criminal? I mean, you know, this is so weird. It makes a lot of sense now because this makes a lot of sense. Wow. The court reasoned that imposing a jury trial would make the proceedings more formal and adversarial, undermining the protective environment of juvenile courts designed to foster. What do you mean it makes it more formal? Your peers are the best people to judge whether you're wrong or right. When parents are accused, and by the way, they're not juveniles, so I don't know where someone has twisted the minds there. The parents are being maybe in a lot of cases wrongfully accused of child abuse or child neglect. Oh boy. The court feared a jury would transform the hearing into a criminal trial, blurring the distinction between delinquent youth and adult criminal. This isn't about children, it's about families. The justice believes a judge was capable of assuring a fair hearing. How can a judge be capable when my judge had no experience in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law? He has experience of how to do automobile collision accidents and claims. He knew nothing about family reunification. They conclude a juror was not essential to achieve fundamental fairness and assist and prioritizes child welfare. Well, they've gone too far. They've gone too far. Now, before 71, there was a case in 67 that reshaped juvenile justice by granting several due process protections. It established that juveniles have the right to timely notice of Pacific. See, they've taken something and they bootstrapped it to serve the child protection system. This is what I'm reading. This is what I'm reading. Now, the Supreme Court decision was not unanimous, as the dissenting judges offered counterarguments. They contend a jury trial is a protection against potential government overreach, an arbitrary decision by a single judge. Oh boy, that is a strong thing. Potential government overreaches. You got bad CPS people, workers, social workers, and you have bad judges to put all the hands into one judge. Boy. So the availability of a jury trial for juveniles varies across the country. The number of states providing juveniles a right to trial by jury through statutes of their own constitution. That's what I did here, that some states do have that. They do have that. Oh boy, I'm discouraged now. Oh boy. Now, Lauren um, from New Hampshire, I'm so sorry to hear that, Lauren. That is sad. 122 days. And her case is 2 years, 4 months, and 6 days. I'm glad you have a lot to talk about. I know the constitutional right, but it varies in states. And it was not, oh boy. In 1971, it was stripped. But see, They're focusing on the juveniles. The juveniles are not on trial. The family is on trial. This is the mistake in the logic and the thinking. You have one judge, or in some case a commissioner, that's making the decision, and he could be a bad judge. One person should never make it. That's called a dictatorship. We shouldn't have it set up that way as a dictatorship. Families are the ones that are on trial, not juveniles. This isn't talking about behavior, a criminal behavior of a child. They're supposed to be protected from abuse and neglect, but now the pendulum has gone too far. CPS people are picking up families, tearing them apart, putting their children into foster care, and they weren't in danger. They were not in danger. And they're not doing family reunification because they give incentives in foster care, but the bill was signed into law in 1997 by Bill Clinton. Oh boy. You could have a rogue CPS entity that's interested in only make money. Yeah, you can't have a jury trial, but you should. I don't know. That's going to be contested. That information I got from um, was I started off. It's by legalcity.org, and where the Supreme Court ruled juveniles are not entitled. How about families? Why can you not have a jury trial for families in child protection cases? All right, I'm going to family law. I got to stay away from the juvenile because they're thinking this is about juveniles. The absence of jury trials in family law cases, including child protection cases, is primarily sensitive to the nature of family law matters. A jury trial can be subject to the influence of personal bias and emotions, which may or may not be uh, constructive to impartial decision making. You're telling me a single judge is not impartial to make a decision, or a group of, here are social workers. Just to tell you the case of point, here's a typical group of social workers. They were found in 2022 in Prescott, Arizona. Now, Prescott, Arizona is a small town and has Indian tribes that live there. It's where the film Billy Jack was filmed, series in there. That's what it's known for. But one day in the summer of 2022, 8 social workers with over 35 years' experience of doing social workers in the area of child protection services decided to buy pink t shirts, not because they wanted to support breast awareness. They wanted to put a clear message on the front of their t shirts. They had stenciled that they're professional child kidnappers. That is the thinking of your typical social worker, that they're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, as they walk by, it said on the back of the shirt, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" These are the individuals that are supposed to protect you in family law matters. I mean, they say that a jury trial may not be conducive to impartial decision making. Well, I got news for you. When you have a corrupt CPS entity and the judges, are corrupt, judges are not equipped to handle complex family law cases. I know this firsthand. I've seen it with over 2,500 people that have talked on my show. Decisions are not made on the basis of legal principle and best interests of individuals involved. Jury trials also require specific procedural steps and understanding, which can be complex, time consuming. Well, if they don't get it right, I just I just don't. Jury trials in family law, when and how. In the United States, jury trials in family law cases are rare. While the Constitution guarantees a right to a jury trial for criminal charges, this does not extend to family law cases, which are generally considered civil matters. Oh, brother. However, in certain states like Texas, individuals can request a jury trial for specific issues within family law, such as property division and certain parenting issues and divorce. In these cases, juries can be decided on issues like spousal maintenance, fault in the divorce, and child custody. Nevertheless, jury trials in family law are not a right and are subject to specific procedures and limitations. So Texas maybe be lenient enough to do that. I just, wow, I'm just appalled. Here's a question that came up with AVVO. Um, there may not be an exact answer, but I was wondering why the family court system doesn't allow a trial by jury if there are allegations of child abuse or any alleged crime. For example, if a person alleges spousal or child abuse was committed against someone in a family court, why can't the accused be tried, either found guilty or not guilty, but yet can be to the judge brought up to the judge of such allegations? Most importantly, why do we allow one person, a judge, to consider the fact surrounding the case and presume the outcome? Don't we have the Seventh Amendment for a reason? Just curious. I'm trying to start a debate, but looking for opinion. Wow. The answer, uh, I think you understand the problem very well. I can recall esteemed jurors weighing a similar question. The jurors pointed out that if anyone had the power, the state legislative has the power to legislate a change like this. Apparently, there was an attempt here in California to move things in that direction back in the 90s, but for some reason it didn't happen. Nevertheless, there are other states that provide jury trials in family law or dependency cases, or have provided them in the past. In other words, if it's been done before, maybe it can still be done again. Boy, that's not an answer. Also, in addition to what others have said, those issues are very private family issues, and the presence of third parties in the court room might re-victimize the victim and cause a fear about how they be received in the community. Just my experience working with survivors of domestic, you know, uh, this is something that I'm glad that maybe my thinking here, and with help from Lauren and Dorothy, who are in the room here, that Dorothy, the internet is a powerful tool. I've been telling since day one. My rule number 4 is that you need to know how to use the internet. You need to use the right browser to look for it. I use Google Chrome. I also try to start off with the city and the state, and if you're outside of the United States, you use the country. Then type in the letters CPS. But a lot of times CPS can mean other things. So I put out child protection services. And then I asked the question. And there's a lot of information on the internet that can help you. But I really think putting the hands into one judge is not the good thing to do, especially if the judge is crooked or bad or doesn't have the experience of working in family law, juvenile law, or dependency law matters. See, those are the areas that you're in. You're in family law in a thing called dependency law court, dealing with juveniles laws. Juveniles are supposed to be protected, but they've gone too overboard where the families are being destroyed, good families. And the sad part is so many of people out there are fighting among family members. Now I just looked at the clock, it's 11 o'clock, it's 11:11. I've gone over too much time. My running time is 1 hour and 1 minute, so I've given you a good hour. I've given you 61 minutes, almost 62 minutes. Anyway, I want to thank you all for this room, but I do have to go. This has been interesting. I want to continue this talk and discussion. But I think I've got the hammer on the head of what our problem is. What our problem is with our CPS cases. I really firmly believe if there was a jury trial, most cases would be settled decently. But when you put the hands into one man's hands to make the sight of a family, you see, they overprotect the children when there's a CPS case. They overdo things, overreach. Yes, we have children every day that are being abused. I cannot tell you that last week there was a father left his two boys strapped in seats in the car. It was hot. It's 117 degrees in that car. They broke the window. They got the children out, and they arrested the father. He definitely was negligent and leave his children alone in a car. But those cases, are far and few. I'm not saying they are there, but too many of the cases lately are someone will call in a layperson or a mandated reporter, a professional person, and they'll say certain things. But of the mandated reporter, the professional reporter, half of the cases called in last year were dropped because they're unsubstantiated. And 75% of the cases by laymen were dropped. Lay people do it as retaliation against a neighbor or friend or family member because they want to gain money. It's all about money. Believe me, it's all about money. Money is controlling a lot of bad things. So I'm going to take my phone number down. I'm going to put down something called Doge. Now, a lot of you may know about Doge. It's the Department of Government Efficiency, but it's a website there for you to look at, dodge.gov. And then on that website, you can see what they've done, and they keep really informative. Also, they hours offer you a full-time career job, not an hourly job, but a full-time career job, and you can apply there. They have two phone numbers. They're White House phone numbers. 202 is the White House, and there's two phone numbers, and then there's the email, dodge@mail.house.gov, that you can write them. So if you really have a gripe and it aren't resolving it at the CPS level with the director, and you're gone to the mayor of the town or the council people of the town, or you gone to the governor of the state, or a senator or representative of the state, or even gone to the federal government and gone to a federal representative, a federal congressman, you can go to Doge because they want to hear from you because they're investigating social services as I speak. I know firsthand because I was witness to when I was doing an intake call from a social worker, and she said that a voice came in and said, "I'm so and so with Doge, and we're monitoring this call to check to see if you're being treated fairly and that you're being entitled to your benefits." It was really remarkable, and that session went well. The person spoke English, very clear, and was very concerned about me as a human being. It was a abrupt change for social workers, a abrupt change. Anyway, I'm going to leave that up. I'm going to take down the chat in the room here because we're done. But that doesn't mean you can't come back later tonight. It's not because it's a closed court. It's because they're trying to protect the juveniles. That's the reason why. It's not because it's a closed court. Well, I'm glad to hear that family reunification's up 7%. That's the positive thing I've ever heard, Lauren. That's great. I agree. The state is ripping children apart. No, a revolution. We have to change within. I know. I know. I remember following the old husband of Hanoi Jane Fonda, who hurt our troops during Vietnam. I met her. I've talked to her. Nice lady, nice actor, but a terrible activist and terrible about your rights and stuff. But she had a husband that later got involved as a congressman to make changes. You have to be a congressman or a representative to make changes. You have to be a president to make changes. So, we can sit here and talk about it, but the change has got to be done at the Congress level. That we got to stop CPS from ripping our families apart, to think about families first. They are thinking about the children. Now, Lauren Vaughn says in New Hampshire, we had a bill in the House right now. I'll look it up. HB 652 to abolish family court. Family court doesn't exist until 2002. Wow, that's interesting. Why do you want to abolish family court? Um, Hello there, Parental Rights Matter. I don't know what your name is or where you're from, what part of the world, or what your CPS case is, but welcome. Okay, you're Brianna J. Nay. Okay, and you're founder of a rights nonprofit. Great. But keep in mind, you guys, in this room, we're here to talk about CPS and how to help one another. Yep, definition division is to conquer and divide. Conquer and divide. Conquer and divide. That's what all cultures have done since the beginning of time. You conquer a group and then you divide them, break them up into small components. So Dorothy says some states do provide jury. They do provide. Yeah, Texas is one of them. You're right there. Hello from Tennessee. This is Brittany Etridge. Glad to meet you. I know you have a complicated. You failed the drug test, and that's terrible. Brittany, you just support me. Whether you're from Tennessee, I have a girl from Tennessee named Erin who calls my show all the time. Yeah, disagreement between them more causes. Yeah. Please check in again, Lauren. And Dorothy, thank you so much for helping me and putting the Doge up there. And the New Hampshire bill, I'll look at it. HB 652. Um, I want to thank Dorothy Cook from North Carolina, who's been a follower of mine, for helping me emphasize certain things. Lauren Vaught, it's glad to meet you. Uh, I'm glad you're here. She's from New Hampshire. Um, You know, it's interesting. Of the of the 2,500 people, I have a diverse group in the United States. I have from the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota, the Lakota Sioux. Um, I've had a lot of Indian tribes that have called in interested about the ICWA Act, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. And Brittany, it's a pleasure to meet you from Tennessee. Let me see who else we have here. We have Parental Right Matter, who is Brianna Joe Nagay. Glad to meet you. I don't know where you're from, but thank you for identifying your name. And of course, Lauren Vaught, I've already talked about her from New Hampshire. And let me see who else we've had in this room. I'm really worried about Felicia from Ventura County. I was praying all night that she doesn't get evicted, and I've not heard from her today, but she may be evicted. The courts are a strange place. They really are. All right, I've touched everybody in the room. I've really gone more than the time I allowed, and I want to thank you all for listening, but don't give up. Do not give up. Remember, you love your family, you love your children. Keep fighting for your children. So I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for those that are on the East Coast, that's 3 hours later because you're 3 hours ahead of me. In England, you're 8 hours. In Europe, you're 9 hours. South Africa, you're 9 hours ahead of me. So I look forward to talking to you some more about anything dealing with CPS. And I do sometimes talk about life skills. So God bless you. Please listen to the message from Vincent Davis. This is a good little ending video.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your